Happy 1st of July. I feel like the situation is just calling for balloons, so that's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. I kind of want to make it bigger, but they're pretty old, so I'm scared that it's gonna blow up in my face if I do. Okay, that's as much as I dare. Happy camp! Whee! Where's it gone? In case it wasn't blatantly obvious by now, it's the 1st of July, which means that it's the first day of Camp Nano. I made a video a couple of months ago going through my plans for both Camp April and Camp July, which was supposed to be project site revisions, and they were supposed to be finished by the end of July. And if you've seen any of my monthly vlogs from the past couple of months, you will know by now that we are not on track whatsoever. Part of that is because I've had quite a lot on my plate. Work has been really difficult lately. I went to France. I hosted my Chaos Reign with my fellow Chaos Queens. That was fun. I feel like there were more things on this list. But I think other than being busy, the main reason that I have been just blatantly falling behind very badly is just my own perfectionism. I have been spending far more time than I should on very little tiny things that really don't matter very much in the grand scheme of things, and just overanalyzing and second guessing every little decision I make regarding what to change and what not to change. And I should not be doing that, because I would like to finish editing this book this year, ideally soon, within the next couple of months. So in an attempt to combat that perfectionism that's been taking over my life lately, I've decided that I'm setting a really ambitious goal. I would like to finish editing every single problem in this draft in Acts 1 and 2. So if you haven't seen my previous videos on this draft, I made a little revision planner in Notion with just a list of all of the problems that I identified while I was revealing this draft, as well as when I was writing it and knew that things needed to be fixed as I wrote. And I've just been working my way through that list and trying to tick off as many items as I can. So I've built this out in order to only have Acts 1 and 2 on the list, and there are a total of 40 problems that I need to fix by the end of the month. That is a lot, especially considering that I keep thinking of new things I want to fix and adding them, so that the list is sort of getting longer as I work on it, so we never actually make any progress. But I'm committed to get that number 40 down to 0 this month, and I will be taking no excuses. I will not be overthinking. I am actually going to do this, and if I don't, you get to shout at me at the end of the month if you want to. I'm hoping that me saying this out loud is gonna make the accountability obsessed part of my brain kick out the perfectionism obsessed part of my brain. So technically solving 40 problems is a really big number. However, I do feel like this should be achievable, because I have been working down the list from the biggest problems down to the smallest problems, so a lot of the bigger issues have actually already been solved. And the other reason I think this is achievable is because I don't have to tick off all of those 40 things. I just have to either solve them or decide that they're draft 5 problem. So part of the reason there's this many things left is that I solve things a little bit, but then I'm thinking oh, I could make this a little better still. So I leave it on the list even though I've technically already worked on it. So I don't want to do that when I have fixed something to the point where I've exhausted all of my ideas of how I'm gonna fix it. I want to mark it as either complete or draft 5, and then if it still needs work, hopefully my beta readers will tell me this, and that's the point of having beta readers. This draft does not have to be perfect before I give it to my friends to read, because they're my friends and they're gonna help me make it better. But even taking all of that into account, it is still a really ambitious goal, so I'm giving myself a secondary goal of working on this book for 30 hours this month. And if I manage the 30 hours and I still have a couple of items left in the other list, then I can still count it as winning camp, because I don't think I can do more than 30 hours. That is also quite an ambitious goal compared to what I can normally do with everything else I normally have going on. So, but yeah, I've made myself a little Excel sheet, so I am going to be keeping track of how many changes I have fixed throughout the month. I'm giving myself 20 days to go through everything, but then I have a couple of days at the end that I can kinda use if I need them, but I'm hoping that in 3 weeks I can finish this up and work on other things at the end of the month and edit the video, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's 40 changes in total. I have 20 days, so that means that I have to fix 2 problems per day. My average so far is 2 problems per month, so you can see why I'm nervous about this. And because I want to start camp on a high note, I've already decided the 2 changes that I'm gonna be doing today. It is Friday afternoon, I've just gotten off work and I don't have very long to work on this today, so I've picked 2 very easy things. The first is gonna be rewriting a scene in part 1 that I already know what I need to fix. It's just removing a character, so it shouldn't take longer than an hour, hour and a half. And then I have another item, which is changing a name, and I've been thinking about it at the back of my mind for a couple of days now, and I think I've settled on what I want the name to be. So all I actually have to do now is go in and change it, which should not take longer than half an hour. So 2 hours total. We can do this. Wish me luck. I did it. I managed to tick both things on the list. Now I just gotta do the same thing again 19 more times, and with items that are a lot bigger and more complicated. We've got this. Hi, it's the 3rd of July, it is Sunday, and I gotta be honest, it is not going great at the minute. We started off pretty well. I am technically on track at the minute if you look at my stats for the month so far. I know it's only been 2 days, but I managed to fix 2 problems on Friday and I managed to fix 2 problems yesterday, even though it took like 5 hours to get through those yesterday. But we're not gonna be able to do that today. I just started looking at the next chapter that I wanted to work on. This really was just a single chapter change, but even then I knew that this was gonna be one of the biggest things to work on this month. This chapter needs a lot of work, as everything else in Act 1. It was actually written in 2020 because I am so goddamn slow. But a lot of the other things written in 2020 were a lot easier. This is part of the sort of like mini climax of the end of Act 1, and there are so many moving parts in this chapter. It is definitely quite a difficult chapter to write, and I knew that it needed work, but reading through it again now, it needs way more work than I thought it did. I think I'm just gonna have to scratch it and start again. I've just spent an hour just on trying to figure out how much of it I'm keeping, which is pretty much nothing to be honest, and just made a list of what I want to do with the next version, how I want to structure it a little bit better. But I know myself well enough that I can't write this entire chapter in one day, which means that I'm gonna fall behind. That's okay, because I'd rather have this be a good chapter, and it's an important one, and I feel like it could be really good. Like, the idea for it is good. It just doesn't work right now because I was a terrible writer in 2020, and I'm a little bit intimidated by it, to be honest, because I'm not sure that I can write it that much better now. Like, I feel like my writing has gotten better, but looking at it I was just feeling overwhelmed because I don't know how to fix it. Or I do sort of know what to do to fix it, I just don't know that I'm good enough at writing to implement those fixes in a way that will make it actually better, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just gonna work on that for the rest of the day and hopefully at least put a dent into it. And then tomorrow I was not gonna write, which I already knew because the Nostalgia Chain Book Club discussion is happening for Inkheart, which I'm participating in. And because I'll be working for most of the day and then have that in the evening, I'm just not gonna have time to write, so I was already gonna fall behind tomorrow. I'm gonna fall behind today, and the chances of me finishing the chapter today are basically 0, so I'll be working on it on Tuesday and probably Wednesday as well. I was going through a list of problems, and there are a decent amount of half an hour changes left that I can do, so I'm just gonna work on this current chapter for however long it needs, and then try and do as many little things as I can until I've caught up. Of course, this isn't the only big change I need to do this month, so like, I don't know, I'm starting to feel like I was too ambitious with my goal, but we're gonna keep trying because it's only day 3 and I'm not gonna give up yet. Hi, yeah, it is the 9th of July, and I can't believe that we're that far into the month already. Where did the last 10 days disappear to? I have been working on my book. I have been working quite a lot on my book, actually, in terms of time spent. But this is what my graph looks like. So, we're still stuck. We're working on the same chapter that I started on Sunday last week, and we're still working on that. I actually did finish the chapter yesterday, which is good, so we're making some sort of progress, but in order to fix the problem that I'm solving by rewriting this chapter, I actually gotta do the next chapter as well, which is what we're doing today. Hopefully it won't take the entire week this time. I think I'm not gonna need to rewrite the entire chapter from scratch, just the first half, so it's slightly better. I'm actually really enjoying working on this right now, though. This is when I first wrote the draft, one of the chapters that I was the most looking forward to writing, and I think it shows in that I wrote it very quickly and with the scene that I already had in mind, and I didn't question it and I didn't try and make it better because I was so excited for the scene that I've been daydreaming about that I just wrote it all in one go. But now that I'm getting to rewrite it and to edit it again, I'm just getting really excited about the scene again. It really is one of my favorites, even though it was terribly executed. And it's a lot better now, even though I still feel like it could be better, but I think it's just gonna stay like that until the next draft. I feel like this is the limit of my writing abilities at the minute, and hopefully when I get better, I will make this chapter better. But in the meantime, it is done for now, and we're moving on to the next one. And the next one's also really exciting, so I'm looking forward to working on it all day. It is Saturday today, by the way, so I'm hoping to get like a big dent of work into this done and like maybe finish it today. I don't know if that's realistic, but it would be brilliant if I could finish it today and then spend tomorrow catching up on smaller things so that I can actually... I think I'm currently 12 problems behind, so maybe make it so that I'm not that behind tomorrow. Either way, the book is getting better, so I'm happy with that, even if it's going slower than I wanted it to, and I'm having fun. Let's go ride. Hi, it is Saturday the 16th, which means that it's been exactly 1 week since my last update, and I can't remember exactly what I was talking about last week, but I do remember very clearly saying that I was gonna try and finish the chapter I was stuck on within a day last Saturday. Turns out, as usual, I managed to vastly overestimate myself, and I still haven't finished that chapter. It is still in progress. We're not even close, we're like a third of the way there. I've got no excuse, it's just going very slowly. I am still enjoying working on it. The actual chapter, I'm very proud of how it's going and how much it's adding to the story, and there were some things that I hadn't touched on at all last time that were kind of important, and I just sort of let them fall between the cracks, and we're sort of adding a new scene to make those things important now. But this is what my graph currently looks like. Clearly we're very behind here, and I've been starting to feel a little bit upset about this. I'm not super fussed about winning camp or anything, but I did have the goal of sending my drafts to beta readers this year, and I also have separate plans for Nano that I wanted to work on in both October and November, and they might bleed into December as well. I'm not expecting to get much done in December, which basically means that unless I can finish writing this draft and getting it to beta readers by the end of September, it's not happening this year. And that is kind of depressing because I've been working on this book since 2020 and I want someone other than my boyfriend to read it, and I want to be able to talk to my friends about the story. At this point I've read quite a couple of my friends' books and they don't know what my story is about, and I just want to be able to share it with them. So I was talking to the lovely Danny from the channel Sunbahanley about this yesterday, and he basically suggested that I don't have to fix everything before I give this to beta readers. The beta readers are there to help, which I know is something that I've been trying to tell myself since I started revisions, but clearly it just hasn't sunk in yet. Like, I'm still trying to make the book perfect before I give it to anyone, which is not the point of this. Basically, what I've decided I'm gonna do today is I want to go through the list of problems in Act 1 and 2 and just go through every single one and look at whether I actually need this to be fixed before I give it to beta readers, or if it's something that can wait until draft 5. So there are a couple of things that I do think are important for the story to make sense. I mean, there's literally missing scenes still in this draft that I need to actually write, so those are definitely staying on the list. There's not that many of them, but they need to stay. But other than that, there's some things like missing names of things where I just have placeholder names isn't super crucial, as in I don't think it's gonna stop someone being able to understand the story if I don't have the name of one or two things figured out. I don't think that's a massive problem. I don't know how many things there are that I'm gonna wanna keep, but basically I'm just gonna go through the list and try and make life easier for myself and actually assign things to future Marta to look at and not try and do everything now. So I've managed to narrow it down to 17 problems, which is obviously still too many to do in the week I have left to work on this month, but let's do some work on this, I guess. Hi, happy Saturday. It is the 23rd of July, and in theory, following my plan, I should have finished Camp Nano by now. I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised at this point if I tell you that I haven't finished Camp Nano yet, but this is what my stats are looking like at the minute, so I am surprisingly close. I think I have 13 problem sets left to fix. However, I will be stopping working on this after today. I have a really busy week at work scheduled for next week, and I am flying to Spain the week after that and won't have access to my computer, so I want to prioritize editing this video, editing a different video, and getting all of my August videos scheduled before I go to Spain, because I'm not gonna be able to do it from Spain. However, I was looking at my time statistics this morning, and I am currently at 26 hours and 10 minutes. So I do think that even though I'm not gonna finish Acts 1 and 2 today, I should be able to reach the 30-hour time goal, which would be an accomplishment at least. So I am going to attempt to do that today. From this graph, you might be able to see that I have made some progress since my last update, but I'm still stuck on the same chapter that I was stuck on. This last week we had a really bad heat wave and I was really struggling to concentrate on the really difficult chapter that I'm working on. So what I did instead was I was working through some of the smaller issues and ticked a couple of them off. And then when the weather got better again, I went back to working on the difficult chapter, so the part where the line is flat is actually when I'm working harder on this, and when it's going down, I'm working on easy things, which makes no sense. That's just what we've got at the minute. But yesterday, I actually managed to get to the point in the chapter from where I don't think it needs a complete rewrite anymore. So now I have about 2 pages left in the chapter that are gonna need major overhauls, and there's a couple of paragraphs that I'm gonna have to rewrite from scratch and reintroduce a couple of bits, but most of it can stay the way it is. I just need to get rid of some characters that are no longer in the scene and do a couple of changes like that, but it's mostly fine. There's no like entire rewrite anymore. So I feel like I should be able to finish this chapter today. In fact, I even want to say that it's gonna take me less than 4 hours to finish this chapter, so I might be able to work on something else afterwards. Don't want to be too optimistic here, because knowing me, that might not happen. Either way, I have my 4-hour time limit, after which point I do not want to work on my book anymore for the rest of the month, and I am going to go make myself a cup of tea and sit down and enjoy the next 4 hours of writing and see how far I can get. Hi, it is a couple of hours later and I managed to finish the chapter. So it only took me an hour and a half to wrap that up, which I'm really proud of because I really thought it was likely to take a bit more than that. But that means that I have about 2.25 hours left to reach my time goals. So I don't really want to start anything difficult because I'm not gonna touch it again for a week and a bit. but I also have run out of really easy things to do. I think there might be like 1 or 2 easy things that I can still do, and then the rest are all kind of difficult things. So hopefully I can find enough easy things to give me something to do for 2.25 hours, and if not, I guess I'm gonna have to start on something difficult because I am determined to reach the 30 hours today. Hi, so it's another couple of hours later. I have just reached, I think, 30 hours and 7 minutes, if I remember correctly. It was just above 30 hours because I was trying to finish something up. So I wanted my secondary goal, and I've actually also done pretty well at my main goal. I mean, if you ignore the fact that like 12 of the things on the list I just delayed for future me to deal with instead of actually solving them. But like, there's only 9 things left in here now, and a couple of them are actually things that affect the end of Act 2 and some of Act 3, so I wasn't gonna tackle them anyway. So I definitely didn't finish everything in Acts 1 and 2. There's a couple of big changes left to make, which are gonna have to go into August. But honestly, I feel like if I had a normal week at work next week, I might have been able to finish this. Because it's only the 23rd of July, so like, it's not the end of camp, but it's the end of camp for me. But I'm really proud of all the progress I've made. This was a really ambitious goal, and the fact that I came close to it is honestly insane, and I'm so happy. But that is really everything that I have to share with you this month, so feel free to let me know if you participated in camp, whether you reached your goal, what your goal was, how did you do, was it fun, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.